So to go through the code a little bit, so there's in this repository, the code repository, there's a front end, and then the nodes, and most of the logic is actually in the node runtime source price fetches. And so I'll go through the runtime. This is the fetch source, so for which token from which source, and the external API. And then this is the storage. So the way I store it is the source price points contain the time that it is recorded and the price that is in U64, and which is the USD dollar, and multiply it by 10,000 and store it as an integer. And the token source price point map is actually an index of saying for which token that price point is referred to, because the price point is only storing the timestamp and also the amount. So we don't know like which token and from which source that price point is from. So this token source price point map and the remote source price point map is the index for it. So the vec u8 is storing the token name, and this is the remote name. And finally, the aggregate price point is where the price are finally calculated, and the token aggregate price point map is similar to like which token name refer to that index of the price point. So the main logic start from the off-chain workers. Currently, there's a logic that so I fetch externally for every fetch durations. This is a number that could be set, and currently it is set in lib.rs, set in here. So the block fetch dir is 2, so it's every on 2 blocks that will go out and fetch the external price. Then here it fetch the price here, and it goes to the fetch prices. So the fetch price will get the block number, symbol, remote source, remote URL. Then it goes to fetch the JSON from the remote URL, and here is parsing getting the JSON and parsing and getting the whole JSON blob out. And I'm using the simple JSON library from XLC, and also contributed with Sean on fixing it that it works in the no STD environment, right? And then I decide if it is a coin cap, it has a specific shape of the for JSON, so I parse it certain way. If it's crypto compare, there's another kind of shape of the JSON, so I parse it in another way. Then finally, I get the price and record it back to the on-chain. So this part is done off-chain, right? The reason I have to pass in the block number so that this the parameter set of here will become unique every time, because the block number is keep on incrementing, right? Because it is possible that for this symbol, the token symbol, the remote source, the remote URL is a price, it could go inside once in a while, and then that call on chain will not be called it. It will be regarded as a duplicate due to the logic of how the off-chain call to on-chain works now. So I'm passing a block number to make sure that the parameter set is unique, and I'm using an unsigned transaction right now. Actually, so this is a temporary solutions. Eventually, I would think that a signed transaction would be more proper. So we only allowed node that we trusted to submit prices and also calculate the aggregate prices. So it come back to record price, right? So this is a debug output, and then it's pushing the number, pushing the price point. I'm following the price point here, getting the timestamp and the price, and pushing it in the source price point storage, and finally having the index of the index pointing of that price point to be used in the token source price point map and the remote source price point map. And finally, I have this update aggregate price point is basically a flag to saying that this token need to be updated because a new price point has come, and then with a frequency +1, you start from 0. So the way it is used would be seen later. Okay, so this is the first pass that prices has been fetched externally and recorded in the blockchain. Then the second part is actually done here. So you see the update aggregate price point is enumerated so that it see how many of the token is fetched, and that it will be used to be it would be used later as the DYC of the number to calculate the average. So if the frequency is bigger than 0, so it means external price point for that token has come, so it will aggregate the price, which is done here. So this is calculating the sum and finding the average, dividing by the amount. The amount is decided by this. And finally, having a record aggregate price call back to the blockchain, to on-chain. And I'm using a submit unsigned transaction here, which I would think that a signed transaction would be more appropriate. Then come back and then come to the record aggregate point, and it's updated and the aggregated point storage, and finally reset the flag to 0 again here. So that's the main logic of the whole off-chain workers price fetch.